Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is the 6th episode of the story, where Naruto Uzumaki has the power of Kyuubi no Kitsune. But what if at age 5 he was given a greater power? Power Naruto, Naru, Hina, harem. Alternate timeline and characters. Rated M for language, violence and straight, les lemons later. To show your support, like and subscribe. Let's get this show going.
October 15, 8 a.m., Namake's estate. Looking at his classmates that made up the rookie teams, Naruto saw Jiraiya appear holding a huge bag. "You have the strength, why did I have to carry this?" Jiraiya said, slightly annoyed. "Because I'm a lady, and I'll kick your ass across Konoha if you didn't." Tsunade said with a smile. "You know you're beautiful when you're bossy." Jiraiya said, smiling. "Slap." The kids laughed. "Flirt." Jiraiya said, rubbing his cheek but smiling pervertedly. Tsunade looked at him, then laughed hard a few moments. "You're right, we do get along better this way, and it makes me feel good." "Okay Naruto, the show's over. I brought you, and everyone else, here to give you your real inheritance." Tsunade said, then opened the huge bag and pulled out a scroll as large as the Toad summoning contract. Naruto gawked at the sheer size of the scroll. "Is that a jutsu scroll?" Naruto said. "Yes." Tsunade said. "How many jutsu are on it?" Naruto said excitedly. Tsunade glanced at a smirking Jiraiya standing on the other side of the scroll, then back to Naruto. "One." Naruto said, even for him, a jutsu that needed a scroll that big had to be powerful. "That's right Naruto, on this scroll is your father's signature jutsu, this is what made him invincible in battle." Tsunade said proudly. "The Hiraishin, the Flying Thunder God technique." Naruto said blankly. "This is why they called him the Yellow Flash, and now this is yours Naruto, but first there are some things you, and everyone else here has to know. First, this scroll is never to leave the estate and it will not even be mentioned outside these walls. Second, there isn't a country anywhere that wouldn't go to war with us to have this scroll, even a couple ninja with this jutsu and 2 weeks of preparation could conquer the entire elemental nation in a couple hours, and at the very top of that list is that Tsuchikage of Earth Country, he'd personally kill every man, woman, child and animal in Fire Country, civilian and shinobi, to get his hands on it. Third, until Naruto has mastered it, if you ask him about it you will refer to it only as that new jutsu. Does everyone understand so far?" Tsunade said in her most serious voice. Everyone nodded. "Good. Before we continue I have to set something up." Tsunade said, took a scroll from her pocket, walked a boy 15 foot away, unrolled it on the ground and released what was sealed in it, a 20-foot by 20-foot tent. She walked back, picked up the Hiraishin scroll and took it to Naruto. "Tent is a table, chairs and a few other things. I want you to take this inside and memorize this jutsu and the hand signs. When you're done come out and we'll start the next step. You'll need everyone's help, so while you're studying Jiraiya and I will be talking to everyone about their part." Tsunade said. Naruto took the huge scroll and went into the tent. Jiraiya stepped up to Tsunade with the bag and opened it. "Pass him out." Tsunade nodded, then watched him walk to them, reach into the bag and handed each person one, then they got theirs. "These are Minato's signature weapon, the Trikunai. You all see the seal carved into it, while the seal itself is a common location seal, what makes it special is his clan symbol added to the design. Once Naruto learns the jutsu he'll be able to sense that seal anywhere and move to that location instantly. You are to carry that kunai with you at all times, and under no circumstances are you to use or leave it. The reason is that once he masters it, if you ever need him simply throw it down and in essence it will summon him to you. Do not abuse this privilege, it should only be used for emergencies. The reason I'm giving these to you now is to help him train. Learning it is the easy part, using it is what makes this an S-ranked jutsu. Just knowing the hand signs isn't enough, as they're only used to learn it, once mastered no hand signs are needed, but you must also have the scroll to learn it. If I know Naruto-kun, he'll have the hand signs down and the scroll memorized in about 10 or 15 minutes, your part will be to spread out around the field so Naruto can learn to move to you. From what Minato told me, I think he could appear anywhere within about 5 to 10 yards of a seal. I'm assuming it'll be the same for Naruto. I want you to form a circle around us, and I want you all to be 20 yards apart. Tsunade said. 16 minutes later Tsunade dropped the resealed 10th scroll in the bag and Jiraiya closed it. Ready Naruto? I think so Bachan. Naruto said. Any questions before you try it? Jiraiya said. Naruto thought a few moments. No, I think I know what to do. Tsunade nodded to Jiraiya, then they took their spots in the circle. When you're ready Naruto. Naruto focused his mind, relaxed his body, then flashed through the hand signs. Hiraishin Jutsu. Naruto exclaimed as he finished the hand signs. He felt their seals and chose his location. An instant later he was looking at Hinata, then everything went black. Tsunade watched him do the jutsu, and when he vanished in a yellow flash, immediately reappearing in front of Hinata, she nearly screamed with joy. He'd done it on his first try, then saw him fall flat on his face like he'd been knocked out. She sprinted to his side in seconds, dropping to her knees at his side. She checked his pulse nervously, then flashed through several hand signs and held her hands over his body a few moments and smiled as everyone else joined her around him. He's fine, just chakra exhaustion. Looks like we're done for the day. I'll take him inside the mansion to rest. You can all go home, stay and train or explore the estate. Tsunade said, then scooped up Naruto and stood. Everyone nodded while smiling at how Naruto was draped over her shoulder. October 29th, 9:24 a.m., Namake's estate. Still having trouble brat? Anko said as she walked up to Naruto sitting about 100 yards from the gate. Hi, Anko-sensei. It should only take a tiny fraction of my chakra to do, but there's something I'm still missing and I'm going crazy thinking about it. Jiraiya doesn't know and Lady Chan knows, but she won't tell me. It hasn't taken me 2 weeks to figure a jutsu out since I was 7. I can do it without the hand signs, but I'm still using way too much chakra. Naruto said, annoyed. Show me. Anko said. Naruto stood. Go over there about 50 feet, you have yours don't you? Of course. Anko said, then moved to where Naruto said. Ready. Naruto did it in his head and an instant later found himself in front of Anko. As usual when he first reappeared, now there was a few moments where time seemed to be slowed way down for everything but him, almost frozen in the moment. He winced and staggered a step, breathing like he'd been training hard all morning. Damn, that's cool. So how much chakra you figure it uses now? Anko asked. About a third. If I don't do anything harder than walk I'll get it back in about an hour. I can do it 2 more times, but I usually pass out from chakra exhaustion after the second time. Naruto said. Anko nodded and thought a minute. You're definitely using too much chakra, I see it on your face and can feel it. Tsunade said the same thing, but when Minato did it she never felt his chakra, which is part of the reason it was so effective. High-level shinobi can feel chakra being used, as you know, that's why henges and transformations don't fool us. Anko said, then suddenly laughed, apparently for no reason. What's so funny? Naruto asked. Reminds me of an A-rank fire jutsu Orochimaru was trying to teach me when I was still his apprentice. I had the same problem. I busted my ass for 3 months trying to do it right. I'd practice until I could barely stand. I was ready to give up. At that time he was my whole world and I felt like I was failing him. I was cursing myself out for failing him because no matter how hard I tried I couldn't make the jutsu work like I wanted it to. That's when it hit me. Anko said. What? What hit you, Anko-sensei? Did you figure it out? Naruto said excitedly. Anko chuckled. I sure did, it was right in front of me the whole time. I think you might be doing the same thing. You're trying too hard, don't try to force it, just go with the floomph. Anko said, and was cut off mid-word when Naruto yanked her head down by her shirt and planted a monster kiss on her lips. When he broke the kiss she fell back onto her butt, stunned. A moment later there was a quick series of yellow flashes and Naruto was standing there with a confused and slightly disoriented Tsunade, Jiraiya, Tenten and Hinata. I did it! Naruto screamed in joy. What the hell just? Tsunade said confused then smiled and grabbed Naruto's shoulders to hold him in place. Hold on, you did it, you solved the chakra problem. Tsunade asked hopefully. What did you do? Jiraiya asked. I gave up. Naruto said proudly. All five looked at Naruto confused. Anko-sensei gave me the idea, I was trying too hard. This isn't like normal jutsu, you don't control this jutsu, you let it carry you and guide it like a boat in a river. I was using too much chakra because I was actually fighting the jutsu and myself with my own chakra. I can rematerialize where I want just like getting off a boat to shore, that's where the control comes in, at the start and end, the rest you just have to go along for the ride and let the jutsu take you to the area you want to go to, then it's more instinct at the end to appear in the spot you want, that's why it doesn't use much chakra, you just jump in the river, let it carry you and jump out when you get where you want to go. Naruto said excitedly, clever son of bitch. Jiraiya said. What? Tsunade said. That's what he told me once, that this was both the hardest and easiest jutsu he'd ever used. The hardest jutsu to learn, but the easiest to master once you figure it out, but even knowing what to do Minato said you had to figure out how to do it by yourself. Jiraiya said. A few moments later Naruto hit the ground, under Hinata and Tenten. Tsunade and Jiraiya smiled at the adorable scene. After receiving about a dozen kisses from each girl Naruto gently stops them. As much as I'd love to continue, we can't until after I marry Hinata in 2 months, and I want to talk to Tsunade about something serious. Both girls nodded and got up, helping Naruto up afterward. Tsunade-sama, I have 2 big favors to ask. Naruto said seriously. Tsunade raised her eyebrows, she knew something was up when he called her that. What are the favors Naruto, and are these going to bite me in the ass later? No, but they might save it. Since I started training to do this jutsu I've been thinking of ways to use it when I did finally master it. Naruto said. Such as? Tsunade said looking at him, her curiosity piqued, she knew how he thought. First, I want permission to place these seals all over Konoha in hidden spots, so if anything happens I can be anywhere I'm needed instantly. The kunai are great for missions, but limit me too much. Naruto said. Tsunade thought a moment. I'll consider it, and you do have a good point. Let me guess your second favor. Suna, you want to give them trikunai, right? Hi, they're allies, and my friends. I really don't want to do it every day, but if needed I can get a message to them instantly. Naruto said. You sure you don't want to be a messenger Nin? Tsunade said seriously. Bachan. Naruto exclaimed, both a little shocked and annoyed, he knew she was messing with him but it was still annoying she could get to him like that. Okay, fine, I won't reassign you, and you're too easy sometimes. Tsunade said and smiled. Naruto glared at her then lightly slapped his outer thighs. Tsunade saw his seemingly meaningless gesture and inwardly cringed, it meant she was going to have to dance for him, as much as she enjoyed dancing for him, it was just as humiliating. She brushed her hair back with her hands, her signal back that she understood. Tenten, when's Temari due to pick up those fan blades you're making for her? November 13th, oh. Tenten said then smiled. Oh. She can get the trikunai and take them back to Gaara and Kankuro. Naruto said. Before I approve of you putting seals all over Konoha, I want a detailed map of everywhere you want to put one, then I'll decide. That's an order Naruto, just between the 5 of us it's no secret you can do it anyway and even make me change my mind. I'm asking you not to, I see your point, but something like this has to go through official channels first, which means the council and clan heads have to be consulted for official permission to place a seal inside their compounds and where. This is part of the job. If you want it someday, you have to do things this way. Tsunade said. You're right, Bachan, it's a real pain in the butt though. I'll have it in a few days. Naruto said. You want 3, or should I make a full set? Tenten asked. Make a full set, Tenten. We'll probably have a few missions before the wedding and I'd like to have some extras with me just in case. Our easy mission to Wave didn't go as expected, and I don't want to get caught unprepared again, especially with this new jutsu. Jiraiya, could you make me a dozen tags with the seal on it? They might come in handy too. Naruto said. Sure kid, no problem. I know that look, you think something is going to happen. Jiraiya said. Just a feeling, but we all know how my luck is. Naruto said and smirked. Okay Naruto, take us back where you grabbed us, okay, and some warning would have been nice, don't just grab me and vanish before I know what's happening. Tsunade said with a glare, then smirked. Heh, sorry about that, I got a little excited, I can't, you're here, so the seal is too. Naruto said. Oh son of a, wait, how far can you throw a kunai, Tenten? Tsunade said. Tenten raised her eyebrows, slightly confused. On level ground, I can hit a target on the ground 120 yards away, farther if I'm higher up, throwing down. Oh, you aren't gonna try that, are you? Jiraiya said. Naruto's eyes suddenly got big as saucers. Are you going to do what I think you are, Bachan? I am Jiraiya, and this time it'll work perfectly. Tsunade said, smiling at Tenten. Tenten suddenly got nervous, she didn't like where this was going. Please tell me I'm wrong and you aren't going to throw me hundreds of feet in the air. Tenten said nervously, then whimpered when Tsunade nodded. Don't worry Tenten, I'll get you after you throw them, just be sure you don't throw yours away too. Naruto said. My idea exactly. I'll hand you mine, Jiraiya's and Hinata's, throw you high enough for you to see the whole village, then you put our Trikunai where we want them, and Naruto brings you back down with the Hiration, no falling. Can't go wrong. Tsunade said confidently. Sure, this time it can't, but you said the same thing the first time and I broke both legs. Jiraiya said. Hey, we got the information we needed to win that battle, and I healed your legs, didn't I? Tsunade said. I don't mind heights, and I trust Naruto-kun to catch me and bring me back, but I can only make a safe landing from maybe 200 feet at most, and that's if I'm ready for it. You're my idol and Hokage Tsunadesima, but sometimes you really scare me. If Naruto-kun hadn't figured out that jutsu, even for you I'd refuse and you could all walk home. Let's get this over with. Tenten said and held out her hands. Tsunade handed her Trikunai to Tenten, followed by Jiraiya and Hinata, each told her where to throw it. Tsunade squatted down, feet wider apart, and interlaced her fingers, palms up. Tenten leapt into her hands a moment later, took a deep breath, let it out, then gave a nod. With a smile and small grunt she launched Tenten into the air, literally out of sight. Byakugan, she's still moving, slowing, she stopped, using her chakra to hold herself in place while she throws them. Now Naruto-kun. Hinata said. Naruto vanished in a yellow flash and reappeared 2 seconds later hugging Tenten, she was hugging him tightly. Tenten immediately released Naruto and spun to face Tsunade. If you ever do that to me again Tsunade, you better fuck me silly afterwards or I'll turn your tits into pin cushions. Tenten commanded powerfully, then fainted dead away in Naruto's arms. Everyone just stared at the small, unconscious, weapon mistress in shock. She has an intense fear of falling out in the open, please don't tell anyone, or that I told you. She made me promise. Hinata said nervously. They turned and looked at Hinata, her normal confidence was gone, which was rather surprising. I'd bet my tits Hinata will have to do something humiliating for Tenten if she finds out. I have to admit that Tenten has a big pair to say that to me, but... Tsunade thought. Jiraiya saw a very subtle and familiar smile appear on Tsunade's face for just an instant. Oh, she wouldn't, she couldn't be seriously, well, I'll be damned. Jiraiya thought, then smiled. I think I'll take everyone back now. Naruto said, then there was a fast series of yellow flashes and he was standing there with Anko. Anka-kan, I need to clear my head, but I don't want to be alone. I need one of your special favors. Naruto said almost tiredly. Anko's face lit up. You sure? Anko asked, Naruto nodded and he picked up his things. This was harder on you than I thought, give me 20 minutes then Hiration to me. Anko said, leaned down, gave Naruto a soft kiss on the lips then vanished in a swirl of leaves. Naruto Hirashined back to his apartment where he had seal under his couch and his bed for when he mastered it, and was glad he'd planned ahead, then quickly stripped and went to take a quick shower. 10 minutes later, Anko's apartment. Naruto appeared in the living room, in front on him was Anko, she was nude, had something in her right hand, and something she only did for him, her purple hair hung her shoulders. He was wearing his special orange kimono. He looked at her and nodded. Anko nodded, and slipped on the ANBA-style mask in her hand. Follow me Naruto-sama, the others are ready. She said submissively, turned and walked into her bedroom. The only furniture was the bed on the far wall. She led Naruto to the end of the bed where he stood facing her, she bowed then joined the others. He looked at his rainbow squad, as they were called for an obvious reason, their hair. Like Anko, or purple as she was called during this, they were nude and wearing a mask. Left to right were his 5 special women, all named for their hair color, head and crotch. Yellow, orange, red, blue and purple. He nodded and they all returned it with a full bow. He knew who they were, but intentionally suppressed that information to his subconscious. He wasn't here to think, just watch and relax. He opened his kimono, nothing beneath it, and sat on the end of the bed. Begin. == NOV 3rd, 7:56 p.m., Naruto's apartment == Naruto, age 13, now Bachan, while you're still in charge, what did the council say? Naruto said. They approved the seals, with 2 exceptions. Tsunade said. Let me guess. Naruto interrupted. Their homes, and the clan estates get final say on where I put seals and how many. The council members complained the most and the clan heads were easier, right? Naruto said. Hi, just like we expected. The council is a pain, but they're still better than the last bunch. Tsunade said and smirked. You picked him. Naruto said. Don't remind me, brat. Now help me get the table set up, they'll be here any minute for our weekly game. Tsunade said. Calm down, Tsunade-kun. Tenten will love it, but she won't tell anyone. Naruto said and smiled. Tsunade froze. How'd you know I'm going to apologize to Tenten? You can't hide it from me like you can everyone else, just be gentle with her, despite how she acts she's still a virgin, and you are her idol. Naruto said calmly. == NOV 10th, 11:50 a.m., Tsunade's office == all done Tsunade, the last seal is in place under the floorboard behind me. I didn't think it'd take a week, but the village is covered, as well as the places you wanted outside the village. Naruto said. Good, just in time for a mission. Tsunade said then pushed the intercom button. Send them in. Anko, Hinata and Tenten walked in. Tenten blushed slightly and gave Tsunade a small wave. You sneaky, just tell me this is a crank at least. Naruto said, would I give you a drank mission Naruto-kun? Tsunade said sweetly. Hi. Naruto said with a straight face. Tsunade face-planted on her desk. Tenten and Hinata giggled, Anko just smirked. That was a low blow Naruto. Treating your Hokage like that. Tsunade said. Thanks, but you aren't most Kage, or do I need to tell everyone what a certain Hokage did a week ago with? Naruto said. Okay, this is a prank mission. I got a message from a friend of mine in Lightning Country that. Tsunade said. NOV 11th, 5:26 p.m., Fire Country Northeast Border come on Enko Sensei, we're 10 minutes from the border of Spring Country, and an hour from the nearest town according to the map, so why do we have to camp here when we could all be more comfortable at an inn? Naruto said. We just left Konoha this morning, I know we've been running all day except for the lunch break and we're all a little stinky, but I think you forgot my rule about missions. What was the rule about prank missions and comforts? Enko said. We don't get them during the mission unless required for success. Naruto repeated almost mechanically. As smart as you are handsome, look, we know you have me by the clit Naruto, and with a little twist I'd happily obey and take us into Spring Country to stay at an inn, but you agreed not to use that power during this mission, so please let me do my job, and on the way home we'll stop at the best hotel in Spring Country and get pampered like you can't imagine, it'll be worth it. Enko said. Deal. Naruto said. Hinata and Tenten quietly squealed happily. Okay, let's find a good spot to set up camp, Tenten get firewood, Hinata you get kitchen duty as our best cook. Oh, and if you would. Enko said. Hinata nodded. Buy a Kugen. NOV 14th, 3:32 p.m., Lightning Country, Lucky Strike in it's Enko Sensei. Hinata said and deactivated her Byakugan. Come in. Naruto said. The door opened and Enko entered the room, shutting the door behind her. Did you clean the room? Enko said. Spotless, we're clear. Naruto said. Seal the room Naruto. Enko said tiredly. Naruto immediately sealed the room with his strongest jutsu. Is something wrong? You sound funny. Naruto said slightly worried. There was a puff of smoke around Enko as she released her hinge and heard them gasp in shock. She staggered to the bed on the far left wall, dropping her ripped trench coat, ripped the remains of her skirt, fell onto the bed, spinning on the way down to land on her back, her right leg was out to the side, foot on the floor. Her mesh shirt was ripped, several sets of bloody claw marks crossed her breasts, her inner thighs were also bloody. She moaned in agony. Oh my fucking tits, and my poor pussy, the pain, burns, thinks she, castrated me. Enko said weakly. Naruto ran to Enko's side, his chakra spiked to maximum as his hands glowed green while he ran them over her body. Tenten strip her, Hinata get your med kit, what the fuck, this is demon chakra. Jinchuriki, two-tailed, cat, blonde kunoichi. Lightning. Killed my, contact, fought her. I lost, too strong, she had, full control, of it. Enko said weakly. Breathing hard, then grabbed Naruto's collar. Did she, ruin me? A smile forced its way on his face. Always thinking about your pussy Enkakan, she missed your clit, her chakra claws did a lot of damage but nothing I can't fix, however. Tell me Naruto. I order you. Enko said. I can heal the damage so you don't even have a scar, but there's residual chakra in the wound, I can draw it out but it'll burn like a motherfucker, and there's one other thing you won't like. I'm sorry Enkakan but, it's gone. Naruto said. Tenten finished cutting off and removing Enko's clothes, leaving her totally nude, then stepped back out of range. Enko shot her right hand down, grabbed herself and felt only bloody skin. No, the bitch bawled my cunt. Enko said, the last half roaring in rage. Hinata, sleep. Naruto commanded. Enko turned her head and moved her hand to block, but wasn't fast enough to stop Hinata from knocking her out with a single juken strike. After I heal the wounds, wake her and help her clean up, in fact, make sure she takes a long, hot bath, use force if you have to, but for no reason is she to leave the room. Tell Anko if she even tries to get revenge on this kunoichi. I'll never forgive her. Naruto said, the last part coldly. With Anko down, I'm in charge. I'll handle this. Hinata, 10-10, keep her here and make sure she obeys. If she does, no one will know she got bald. You both know how she feels about this, tell her I'll handle this for her. Naruto said. Hinata and 10-10 nodded, they weren't going to argue. The last time he was like this was the forest of death. The look on his face would put Tsunade on her knees in submission. == 4:36 p.m. Warehouse District == It had only taken him half an hour to track her down after healing Anko. After what happened in Wave he never wanted to see her hurt like that again. You have that seal ready, Kyuubi. I hoped I'd never have to use any of those jutsu, but I don't have a choice this time. That bitch did worse than kill Ankakan. What she took from Anko was her pride, her honor. Naruto thought. I know, Naruto, and I'll be ready when you want to use it. Are you going to use the summoning jutsu? Kyuubi said. Not unless I have to, and I'd rather not announce to the entire village I'm here by using your chakra, but one way or another, they're losing their Jinchuriki and Anko will be avenged. I'll send this whole damn country to the bottom of the ocean if I have to, but that pussy is getting busted. I promise. Naruto thought. Looking at her from a distance he found it odd, and honestly a little weird that she was crouched on the floor of the warehouse eating a raw fish like a slice of watermelon. It wasn't cooked or anything. It had to be her demon's influence, it was a cat. He dropped into the clearing without making a sound. She sprang up into a fighting stance, obviously surprised she'd been snuck up on. Who are you, and how did you sneak up on me? She said, her emotions under control again. A friend of the woman you brutalized an hour ago. She's lucky she made it back to me or she'd have died. The snake woman. She was a good fighter, but escaped before I could finish her. I must track her down and finish my mission, after I kill you. You look too young to be a jonin. Was she your sensei? She said. Hi, and a good friend for many years before that. Don't you have feelings about what you did to her? Naruto said strongly. She's an enemy, I did what was required of me. She said emotionlessly. Because you're a Jinchuriki and think they own you. Naruto interrupted. Her eyebrows went up. How did you know that? Easy. I know more about Jinchuriki and the demons within them than anyone. You don't have to be a weapon. I'll give you one chance to stay alive, otherwise, I'll kill you for what you did to Anko Sensei. Naruto said. What I want doesn't matter, I'm the weapon of Raikage-sama and you're foolish to believe you can kill me, but for what it's worth, I wish you luck. She said. What's your name? Naruto said. Yujito ni. Yujito said, then charged Naruto in a blur of speed. Naruto watched her run in. He knew Guy and Kakashi were the only other people that could follow her movement. As she got close she started to draw her katana. As she attacked he ducked her blade easily, stepped inside her defenses and his right hand flashed in faster than she could follow. She swung her katana to give the blonde kid a quick painless death for trying to help her. Since her masters weren't watching she felt it was the least she could do. Then she froze in shock as he vanished at the last moment. She was only paused a shinobi second before turning around to see him standing there, but before she could attack again the pain hit her. She dropped her katana as she fell to her knees screaming in pain as she grabbed herself with both hands. Since you balled Anko's pussy, robbing her of her honor and pride as a woman and kunoichi. I thought it only fair I return the favor, you worthless cunt. Naruto said and held up his hand, which now held her entire blonde bush. He balled her crotch in a single move. A lucky grab got every single hair and he ripped them out by the roots. Goodbye. Demon style, elemental binding seal. Naruto said then drove his glowing red left hand into her stomach. She screamed and collapsed unconscious. == 10 minutes later, Rakich's office equals. His door opened and his secretary came in looking rather flushed judging from the redness of her face. Is Yujito back? Hi, but someone is with her and insists on seeing you immediately. She said nervously. HMF, send her back to her cage and send whoever it is away, I'm busy. The Raikage said. With all due respect Raikage-sama. I believe that would be a bad idea. You really should see them, he's a leaf shinobi. Send them and then clean out. Your desk, you're fired. The Raikage said coldly. Hi, Raikage-sama. As you command. She said calmly, holding back her emotions, then left the office. Naruto walked in, his face emotionless, crossed the room to the Raikage's desk with an unconscious Yujito slung over his right shoulder, her butt facing up and forward, accentuated by her tight pants, as was the barely visible crease between her legs. He laid her on the floor in front of the desk, his hand blurred under the desk for an instant before he stood. I think this pussy belongs to you. The Raikage was stunned for a moment. Is she dead? He asked calmly, his emotions back under control. No, but she could have been. I could have carried her head in here and tossed it on your desk if I'd wanted to. For a Jinchuriki she's nothing but a little pussy. She attacked me and I put her down with one hit, she wasn't even a challenge. Naruto said casually. What do you want? If this was an attack we wouldn't be having this talk, so you obviously want something. The Raikage said. I do, it wasn't why I came here, but she nearly killed my sensei, so now this is personal business. I think she should hear what I have to say. Naruto said, kneeled and slapped her awake. Yujito back rolled away from the blonde boy and stood, genuinely surprised she was still alive, then saw where she was. I've failed you Raikage-sama, I was beaten and failed my mission, but why am I still alive? Yujito said. Shut up you worthless whore. The Raikage said powerfully. As I was saying, she should hear this. First, she's not yours anymore, she belongs to me. Second, you're going to send a diplomat to Konoha to negotiate an alliance with Konoha from the weaker position. Naruto said calmly. The Raikage looked at him a few moments then started laughing. Did I say something funny? Naruto said. What makes you think you're in any position to even suggest such a deal, boy? The Raikage said, amused. Simple, I know about your medical condition. Naruto said and smiled like he had him by the throat. His face showed his shock for a brief moment, then went emotionless. I don't know how you found out, but if you think you can threaten me or force me to do anything, you're badly mistaken. The Raikage said coldly. That wasn't a threat, it was a fact. Do you know who my Hokage is? Naruto said calmly. The Raikage nodded. Tsunade of the Sannin. He said, waiting to see where this was going before he acted, if that boy defeated Yujito as easily as he said, he wasn't someone to be underestimated, even by a Kage. He'd seen the results of underestimating an opponent based on their appearance, and everyone knew what had happened in Earth Country almost 20 years ago. He suddenly stood, eyes opened wide. No, it can't be, you're his son aren't you? Naruto smirked at him briefly, then took out his wallet, thumbed through it then pulled out a picture. Since you know who she is you know how strong she is. Well let's just say that I have her ear and a great deal of influence with her. Naruto said then tossed the picture onto the desk in front of him. The Raikage glanced down at the picture and gasped in shock. Is this real? He said, his face turning red as he started sweating. Yes, I picked out the bikini myself. That picture doesn't do her justice though, you really need to see her wearing it in person, she's quite the little dancer too, and dear Kami is she flexible. Naruto said then whistled. The Raikage fell into his chair, breathing erratically, clutching his chest. Now, do you agree, or do I get the explicit picture out? I think we know what'll happen, no one can resist looking. Naruto said. Yujito. The Raikage said, trying to slow his heartbeat and stop any mental images of a nude Tsunade. I wouldn't say it, Yujito's been spayed. Naruto said and smiled at her. Yujito immediately closed her eyes, a few moments later they snapped open, shock and fear on her face. I can't talk to Nibi and, my chakra, it's gone, what did you do to me? Yujito said, terrified and feeling very helpless. I cut you off from your chakra and blocked Nibi, she can't help you or even speak to you until I allow it, in other words. I own your ass. Now kneel at the feet of your new master. Naruto commanded. Yujito glanced at the Raikage a moment, swallowed nervously, then nodded and kneeled in submission at his feet. I'm yours to command, I never got your name master. It's Naruto, Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze. I won't ask again old man, do what I said, or die and lightning country becomes part of fire country. Naruto commanded. Then there were 4 near simultaneous yellow flashes and Naruto had his picture and the Raikage's hat. Got it? Naruto said. The Raikage blinked in shock. Naruto had just confirmed it twice, by name and with the signature technique of the yellow flash of Kono. He was screwed and he knew it, especially because Naruto knew about his heart condition, how he knew didn't matter now. Take her. I'll have a diplomat there within the week. The Raikage said sadly. I have to ask, do you really have nude pictures of Tsunade? Naruto smiled. Hi, and doing other things that if I even mentioned, would kill you. If you tell anyone about that picture or what I told you, I will kill you, and just between us, I have her wrapped around my finger like a fangirl, she'll do anything I tell her to. Naruto said, then grabbed a handful of Yujito's hair and yanked her up, released her as she was much taller, then grabbed her arm. Cross me old man and I'll send lightning country to the bottom of the ocean. Naruto said, then they vanished in a yellow flash. I should have retired when I had the chance, I'm too old for this shit, it almost killed me, but all things considered, seeing that picture of Tsunade in that black bikini was worth it. The Raikage said and smiled, then saw a lightning highlight on his desk. He figured had to be Yujito's. Naruto's hotel room Naruto appeared in the room, and not seeing anyone scanned the area with his senses and smiled. They were all in the bathroom. Kneel in that corner, and if you so much as twitch a finger in defiance or if I even suspect you might attack any of my friends, I'll give you pain the likes of which Kami can't imagine, do you understand me you worthless cunt? Until you prove I can trust you, the only rights you have are those I give you. Naruto said softly but coldly. Hi, Naruto-sama, you've taken my chakra and cut me off from Nibi. I'm not even a kunoichi. If this is my fate, I'll serve you loyally, do with me as you want, shall I strip, I'm not worthy of these clothes. Yujito said in a dead, submissive voice, she'd lost absolutely everything but her desire to serve a master. For now keep him on. Do as I say and I'll treat you well, you know what happens if you don't. Naruto said firmly, he didn't like doing this to her, but for now she had to believe he was ready to kill her. This was the best way to tear her down and break all her old habits and whatever mental conditioning she'd received. He'd seen it and Kyuubi had confirmed it, she'd been a little more than a slave her entire life, she was raised to be a weapon and nothing more, and that not only pissed him off, but Kyuubi. Yujito moved to the far corner and got down on one knee, head bowed in submission. The bathroom door opened, and Naruto smiled as Hinata and Tenten paused, then flew across the room, wrapping him in hugs and kissing him. How's Enkakan? I'm fine. Enko said from the doorway, wrapped in a towel from armpits to knees, her shoulder-length purple hair down. Now tell me the good news, did she beg for mercy before you ripped out her cunt? Enko said. Naruto gently freed himself, reached into his pocket, pulled out and held up a thick, 6-inch-long blonde ponytail. Worse. Naruto said and tossed it to Enko. Enko caught it and on a hunch gave it a sniff, then smiled. Her bush. Every single hair, she was fully dressed and attacking me when I did it, she screamed like a pussy before I knocked her out, didn't you Yujito? Naruto said. Hi, Naruto-sama. Yujito said from the corner. Hinata, Tenten and Anko turned and looked at the corner. You didn't kill her? Anko said, visibly upset. No, took her from the wreckage, she's mine now. Naruto said. We're sure Shikara-kun, we want you to join us, you aren't his secretary anymore and stop thinking they'll come for you because of what you know. I told you, I'm a very good friend of the Hokage, she'll have you legally registered and cleared as a high-level civilian employee in a week, with a job at the tower and an apartment. Now you're going to join us for a day of pampering and that's final, now lean down here so I can give you a kiss. Naruto said. Okay, and I guess a little kiss won't hurt, just a quick one, you are cute, but I know what. The Hiteite means so don't think because you're going to see me nude means you can touch me, okay? Shikara said and leaned down. Naruto smiled and nodded. I'm a gentleman, ask them. I won't do anything you don't want me to. What about Yujito? I know she's a prisoner, but she's done everything she's been told without question since I joined you at the tower. As a favor to me, please, let her enjoy the day too since she'll never have this chance again. Shikara said. Naruto looked at Hinata, Tenten and Anko, the girls reluctantly nodded. Anko had calmed down but still wanted to beat Yujito senseless, despite knowing what he had planned for her. They all knew that Shikara thought Yujito was going to be imprisoned the rest of her life or executed. What do you say Anko-sensei, does Yujito deserve to join us? Well, you did spay the bitch making her harmless, and she has been a good little slave, doesn't mean I forgive her though, so don't think for an instant I'd hesitate to kill you, worthless cunt. Anko said, the last part coldly as she looked at Yujito kneeling nearby. Yujito nodded, she knew her place. Anko had very clearly stated how she felt about her, and told her, in very graphic detail how she'd die if Anko even suspected she might have thought about betraying them. Never in her life had she heard such a horrible death was even possible, and it terrified her to her core. That was the moment she knew Nibi was her only advantage over Anko, and that was gone now, along with her chakra. Fine, she can join us, but she's bottom bitch in this pack, even under Shikara. She tells you to lick her pussy until she passes out from pleasure, with the whole town watching, you better dive between her legs, understood? Anko said coolly. Hi, Anko-san. Yujito said. Shikara blushed bright red. Hinata and Tenten giggled. Then it's settled, lead the way Anko-sensei, since you've been here before. Naruto said and gave her a quick, don't push it look. I can put aside my feelings while we're here, I don't want to spoil the fun, so don't give me a reason Yujito-chan. Anko said half forcing out the chan. Yujito cautiously stood, glanced around briefly then smiled. Thank you, I promise you won't regret giving me this honor before we get to Konoha. I'll remember this however long I have left. Come on you blonde pussy, just relax and enjoy yourself. Anko said then lead them out and down the hall. 20 minutes later, Hotel Outdoor Hot Spring 5 Oh Cammy this feels wonderful. I wish we had this in Lightning Country. Shikara said, sitting in the hot water up to her neck. Naruto nudged Anko then pointed. Anko looked and almost laughed. First time Yujito. Yujito was in up to her chin, but her head was half tilted back against the edge, eyes glazed over in pleasure. She said softly, not really paying attention. It is, she's never been allowed any kind of pleasure even close to this. Shikara said. Never. Hinata said. She was eating a fish when I found her, is that all she gets as a reward? Naruto said. Hi. I've seen her record and heard them talk about her. Only the Raikage and her handlers aren't afraid of her, everyone else is. She's never been allowed to have a friend or even, a man. As bad as it sounds to say, she's never even been, raped, because of Nibi. Shakera said sadly. Anko shut her eyes and sighed heavily. Just what I needed, guilt. Anko said and looked at Naruto, the look on his face made her sigh. How the hell am I supposed to hate someone whose life was shittier than mine? Naruto, if I didn't love you so much you'd be begging me not to crush your balls right now. I know. So what do you say girls, do it now? Naruto said. What are you talking about? Shakera said, confused. Naruto crossed the spring to Shakera. Remember that little warm feeling you got when I kissed you earlier? Naruto said and saw her nod with a slight blush. He smiled then leaned up and kissed her on the lips, using Lady Luck's power this time. That. Oh Kami, that was. Shakera said dreamily. Well girls. Naruto said. Now. Hinata said. Now. Tenten said. Considering what you did to her for me. I guess if you let me have her to play with a couple nights. I can call us even, but only for you Naruto-kun, then I get 24 hours alone with the white snake in the mountains. Anko said then smiled pervertedly. You know you'll owe her big for this, but I can arrange it. Deal. Naruto said. Don't ask Shakera, it's private. Anko said. Yujito, sit up. Naruto said. Yujito opened her eyes, raised her head then sat up, the water at the top of her large breasts. You wanted me Naruto-sama. Were you listening? Naruto said. No, only for my name, what my superiors discuss is not my concern. Yujito said. Naruto sighed. I have 3 questions for you, answer honestly and you'll get a special reward. First, height, weight, measurements and if you know it, bra cup size. Yujito nodded, she didn't understand why this information was important, but if he wanted it she'd tell him. I'm 5 feet 10 inches tall, I weigh about 140 pounds, I have a 46-inch bust, 24-inch waist and 36-inch hips, and I believe I'd wear a double F cup bra. Naruto nodded. Thank you. Second question, when we met, after I balled your pussy, your reaction had more than shock at what you lost, so tell me how you felt about your hair. I believe I got it from Nibi, but my hair, on my head and especially on my womanhood, was, a mark of honor and pride for me, it was the only thing my former owners allowed me to have as a woman. I believe it was because they feared Nibi and didn't want to risk losing control of her again. As a child after I'd learned of Nibi they cut my hair short, and I killed the man that did it. They never cut it again. When you balled my womanhood you took my honor. And pride as a woman and kunoichi, as I did to Enkosen in our fight. I deserve to be stripped of my honor for letting my emotions control me, I shouldn't have let Enkosen provoke me into doing what I did. As a jonin I should be beyond such things. Yujito said and hung her head in shame. Final question. If I restored your chakra and linked to Nibi and gave you the choice of going back to serve the Raikage as his tool, or come with us to Konoha and spend the rest of your life as my personal whore, what would you choose? Naruto said. I'd serve you Naruto-sama, being your whore is still better than what I had before. Yujito said without hesitation. Great, another emotional kick in my cunt, thanks Naruto-kun. Anko said dryly. Any time Anka can. Naruto said with a smirk. Hinata and Tenten giggled, Shakera was just confused at this odd relationship they seemed to have. Naruto moved closer and gently put his hands on Yujito's cheeks. Thank you Yujito, here's your reward. Naruto said and saw her very subtly flinch as if he was going to snap her neck, he saw the spark of fear and acceptance of death in her eyes, then passionately kissed her on the lips with Lady Luck's full power. Yujito tensed up a moment when she was kissed, as it was a new experience, and maybe he wanted to kiss her as he did it, then she felt something fill her entire being, then felt her chakra and link to Nibi come back, and saw in her mind as Nibi rolled onto her back and, well, purred in total contentment, then that same feeling washed all her pain away, everything she'd ever suffered at her former owner's hands, All the emotional pain and connections she had, vanished, and was replaced by this connection to Naruto that felt like love, friendship and gratitude, as best she could tell anyway, and she had this new urge to want to please him, not for him, but because she wanted to, but she also knew she didn't have to. Then he broke this kiss and she whimpered and sank into the hot water with an Ertoir cat-like grin. Shikara watched, in stunned shock. "What the hell did you do to her?" she said blankly. "I took away her pain," Naruto said and saw her nipples get hard just below the surface. "Would you like a kiss, Shikara-kun?" Shikara nodded blankly and without even thinking moved close to him and let him not only kiss her, but squeeze her breasts while he did it. She had no idea why, but even before he kissed her she knew if anything did happen he'd be good to her, something about him was just, she couldn't explain it. Naruto broke the kiss and released Shikara moments before Yujito rose up out of the water, smiling. "Anko-san, I just found something out about myself, and with Naruto-sama's permission I'd like to give you a special reward I hope will prove my loyalty and restore both our honor as kunoichi. As you may have guessed, as the weapon of the Raikage I was denied any form of physical pleasure, and once old enough, sexual pleasure, which may have been a mistake by my previous owners considering what Nibi just told me. It seems that all Jinchuriki are sexually gifted, a gift from the Bijou who are very sexual by nature." Yujito said, sighed, then stood and sat on the side of the spring, her legs wide. All the women gasped. Naruto raised his eyebrows. "I want you to do anything you wish to my pussy, specifically my clit. Tear it out if you wish. Nibi tells me she'll grow it back by tomorrow morning and will prevent me from bleeding to death no matter what you do to me," Yujito said sincerely. Anko had seen a lot of things in her life, and she'd sexually destroyed more women, civilian and kunoichi, than she could remember, but she'd never had a woman offer her womanhood to her to do with as she wished, without beating her down first, and on top of that, Yujito's was bigger than hers and she'd been enhanced by Hinata's jutsu. "I don't know if I should be pissed off, jealous or aroused, but damn that's a big fucking clit. Looks like, a foot long, and thick too. What do you say Naruto?" she offered, "and you know if she'll heal like she said she will." Naruto, Hinata and Tenten were impressed too, though not as much as Shikara. The biggest they'd ever seen was sitting there smiling. "It's not something I'd want to experience, but she told the truth, Nibi can regrow it, it's just another organ as far as her regeneration is concerned, even with all the nerves. Anko, if you accept, even before I do my part, this makes you and her even, understood?" Naruto said, giving Anko an intense, but brief glare at the last word. Anko knew that look, he'd fuck her up bad if she tried to do anything further to Yujito. "As long as I get my part, I can forgive her after this. She balled me, you balled her, sounds like we both suffered the same. I accept Yujito, but I am going to hurt you, bad. I'm a torture and interrogation specialist, and women have many, sensitive, body parts," Anko said and smiled sadistically. "Understood. Do you want to hear me scream, or hold it in?" Yujito said calmly. "Oh, definitely scream, but not here. I'll save the pain for later when I can seal the room. For now I'm going to put my anger aside, and enjoy that big clit of yours. Then after I break you later, you'll get the full treatment, and you will return the favor or I'll be very upset and take it as an attack on my honor as a woman and a kunoichi," Anko said. "Understood, and I'll do my best to please you in every way," Yujito said. "What do you say Shikara, you want some female oral action?" Anko said, smirking. Well. I guess that'd be okay, it has been years since I last," Shikara said and blushed. "Well that won't do. Ten. Anko interrupted. Shikara was stunned a moment, she was expecting Anko or even Yujito, but before she could say anything she saw the young brunette dive under the water, a moment later felt a tongue between her legs, and moaned in pleasure, her head going back to rest on the side of the spring. Naruto saw the look on Hinata's face, it was subtle but he knew it. "Don't worry Hinata-kun, in just over a month that'll be you, and then some." Naruto said and smiled big. Hinata blushed, smiled, moved close and kissed him. I know Naruto-kun, have you been fitted yet? And what about the honeymoon, and? Hinata said, getting overexcited and nervous. Calm down Hinata-kun, all taken care of. Naruto interrupted. You're cute when you get all excited though. Sorry, I did it again. Hinata said, embarrassed. Her fingers expertly, and lightly, gliding up and down Yujito's hard clit, Anko turned her head and smiled at them. Relax Hinata, you know every kunoichi in Konoha from clan head wives to Anbu would beat Naruto bloody if he messed up your special day, and there's no way the Naruto I know would dare do that to you. It's my wedding too you know, but she's right Hinata-kun, Tsunade and the others have it planned, all you have to do it be your beautiful self. Naruto said. Hey Anko, they have massages here don't they? The best, go to the desk we passed, tell you want a massage and ask for Kumiko, she's the best. You'll melt like butter. Anko said and saw Naruto's face. Go on brat, and tell her you want special number 7, when she asks you who told you that, give her my name. Anko said. Thanks Anko, come on Hinata-kun. Naruto said, then he got out and left, followed by Hinata. Anko watched them enter the locker room, then smiled deviously. Have fun. ===3:03 p.m., room 18 ===, I have to come here next time I get a few days off, bring mom, your massage sounded heavenly Hinata-kun. Tenten said. Oh it was, every part of me is. Hinata stopped and looked at the door when it opened rather forcefully and Naruto came in, his face an odd mixture of contentment and anger. Did you enjoy the massage Naruto? Anko said from the bed where she was sitting with Hinata and Tenten, smirking. Naruto shut the door firmly, walked out into the open part of the room. Anko-ka. Anko sprang from the bed at blinding speed and clamped her right hand over his mouth. Please don't use my middle name, I'm begging you. Naruto-sama. Anko said as submissively as she could. Hinata and Tenten looked at each other stunned, then at Anko. Your middle name? They said together. Anko nodded to them. Please, before you emotionally castrate me, just tell me one thing, did you enjoy yourself? Anko said then cautiously removed her hand from his mouth. Naruto took a deep breath and let it out slowly and stood there a full minute before he looked at her face. Yes. You didn't break any promises and you're relaxed, right? Anko said nervously. No I didn't, and yes I am. Naruto said calmly. Tell me you didn't enjoy her special gift, and you can do anything you want to me, end my career, my sex life, say the word and I'll leave Konoha. Anko said sincerely. Naruto looked at her and held out his right hand. Lucky kunai. Anko paled, nodded sadly, took it out, kissed it, put it in his hand and closed her eyes. I'm sorry Naruto-kun. She whispered then waited to feel it, and for several minutes she just stood there, genuinely afraid to open her eyes, a rare feeling for her, but even worse was the feeling of disappointment she felt for herself. Then a feeling hit her stomach and pussy, but it wasn't pain, it took her about 5 seconds to recognize it, the instant she did she opened her eyes hoping she was right about what she'd see. Hello Anko-kan. Hinata said with a smile, behind her was Naruto, with a smile on his face. Not that I'm complaining, but, did you just punk me Naruto, or am I in trouble? Anko said. Oh you're in trouble, what you did was sneaky, and to answer your question I did enjoy her special gift, and she loved mine. I know what Hinata did for you, and that's what she did just now. As I recall your sexual limit is about 5 hours. Naruto said. Anko's eyes got big as saucers. Please tell me you aren't going to. Anko said nervously. Leave you in Hinata's technique until 9 tonight, yes I am. Naruto interrupted. And my lucky kunai? Anko said as she felt her arousal getting to a noticeable level. When we get back to Konoha, you're going to max out your shadow clones and I'm going to kill them with it in fun ways, so you'll get the pain and memories. I think that, with this, should teach you a good lesson, but you know me Anko, when it's over you'll be better, I'll give this back to you, and I think you know what other reward you'll get from Hinata's technique. Naruto said. Anko nodded. So you aren't mad at me? Not how you think I am, but next time Anko, tell me what to expect. Oh, Kumiko said hello and she expects you to return the favor next time you're in the area, or she'll, and I quote, wring out that cum dump you call a womb like a wet towel and wear your ovaries as earrings. Naruto said. Anko nodded and smiled briefly. 9. Can I touch myself? No, not until Hinata releases you, and I hope your skirt is long enough to cover you while we're out having dinner then shopping and seeing the sights with Shirkara and Yujito. Naruto said and smiled. Anko whimpered. Hi, I'll pay for everything while we're here. That might get you a shorter sentence Anko-can, now let's go get them. Did you take Yujito's clit or just beat her? Naruto said. I just beat her, the damage I did to her was bad, but she should be healed enough to join us. Anko said. Naruto, if I give up that special time you promised me earlier, and spend that time as Yujito's bitch, would you give me a little mercy? You do that? Naruto said and saw her nod immediately. I'll let you know after dinner. I assume you know the best restaurant in town. Hi, I would and I do. Anko said then moaned softly and rolled her hips once. Lead the way, Anko-sensei. Naruto said. == 4:05 p.m., clothes store == standing in the women's dressing room, out of sight, Anko lifted her skirt and looked at her hard clit stretching her panties to their limit, pointing at the ground just in front of her feet, and whimpered. She'd lowered the waist of her skirt to just above her now bald mound, which gave her coverage with 34 inches to spare, but she knew from the first time Hinata used this on her that by 6 o'clock she'd match Yujito in length, and by 8 o'clock she'd be 3, maybe 4 inches longer than her and ready to climb the walls in sexual frustration. She had the dancing and that night to relieve the tension and keep it under control, but not now. I'd give anything for a kick in the cunt right now. Anko said to herself. == 5:06, Geyser Field == wow, we don't have these in Konoha. Tenten said, impressed. I could come like that right now if someone would cunt bust me. Anko said quietly. Naruto, Hinata, and Tenten turned and looked at Anko. You that horny Anko-can? Naruto said quietly. Anko nodded. See that mother and daughter over there? I'd give them my life savings to stomp my cunt to bloody paste right here in front of everyone. Anko whispered. Naruto glanced down, and saw a flash of the tip of Anko's clit. Panties rip? Naruto said and Anko nodded. Almost an hour ago. I can't hide it much longer, please Naruto-kun, give me 2 minutes alone, one will do, please. You know how I feel about you and what I did was a surprise but wasn't really mean, she's an old friend. I don't care what happens to me in Konoha, walk me through the village nude on a leash attached to my hard clit, but don't humiliate me as your sensei here. Just let me take the edge off and I'll stay in it until 10. Anko whispered. Naruto looked at Hinata then Tenten then motioned them in close. Anko watched a moment, focusing on the current geyser eruption that was drowning out their whispers. We'll go to dinner as soon as the tour is over, make it back to the room without losing control, with the terms you mentioned and I'll give you from 6 to 6:30 with the extension to 10. Make it to 10 and I'll call us even. Deal? Naruto whispered. Deal, and I swear on my clit I'll never do something like that again. Anko said. This was your first slip in a long time, but you're doing better than expected. Let's get Shirkara and Yujito and go eat. Naruto whispered. He really was proud of her, and would tell her later, he just wanted to break her of her old bad habits, she was nearly there, and would be ready for her special gift when he married Hinata. He watched Anko turn and head for the entrance building. Don't worry girls, when this is over we'll get a better Anko, just hang on a little longer, it'll be worth it for us and Anka-kan and she knows it. Naruto whispered. Hinata and Tenten nodded. Deck 8, 10:16 a.m., Konoha, Hokage Tower Her Hokage face firmly set, she glanced right at the big blonde Kunoichi, left to the purple-haired Kunoichi then to her favorite blonde directly in front of her desk between the two women, the two girls behind them had already spoken. That just leaves your report Naruto. Tsunade said then lifted her chin off her interlaced fingers and laid her crossed arms on her desk. Does everything they said match what you saw happen on the mission? Naruto smiled and nodded. Hi, Yujito was a model Kunoichi, the client arrived on time, the bandits were defeated and Yujito personally captured their leader alive, and intact. I would have busted his balls, but that's just me, makes M easier to interrogate later. Anko said. Tsunade smirked at everyone's reaction to Anko's comment. Excellent, then she earned this. Tsunade said then opened her drawer and tossed a small, dark blue cloth bundle to Yujito. And Anko, maybe next time. Her eyes open wide, Yujito slowly, but excitedly, unwrapped it and smiled happily. I'm a full-leaf Kunoichi now. Tsunade nodded. Yujito immediately tied her new leaf headband around her forehead then bowed. If I may ask, what's my rank? Despite your skills and special abilities, I can't make you a jonin, so I had to demote you. Tsunade said and subtly glanced at Naruto. He'd been very insistent about this during their pre-mission chat and would be upset if she didn't do this, counsel be damned. Their idea wasn't bad, but they weren't Naruto. Besides, her new relationship with her former sensei aside, they weren't going to break her pussy in 3 weeks, and there's no way she was going to blow that, she's waited months to fuck Naruto. Chunin ni. Yujito's subtle frown at demote you changed into a big smile. She'd honestly expected to be a genin and have to start her new career as a leaf Kunoichi all over again. Thank you Hokage-sama. 10:29 a.m., Namikaze's mansion After dropping off Tenten, Hinata and Anko with his Hiration. Kami did he love that jutsu, he'd entered the estate and walked Yujito to the mansion as she'd only seen it a few times. As they approached the front door he finally spoke. Do you have anything planned for today? Yujito shook her head no. The front door opened a moment later when they were close. Welcome back Naruto-sama, Yujito-san. Mikieru said then stepped aside to let them in, then closed it. Naruto turned to Yujito and smiled. Good, that'll make it easier for you to move in. Hi, it will. Yujito replied, then a moment later she froze in shock as she stared at him. Move in, here. That's right, that little apartment is temporary housing for people in your situation and certain types of special guests. So until you have your own house, you're going to live here and save your money. As long as you live here I'm paying for everything you need, weapons, supplies, clothes and food. Yujito hugged him tightly. Thank you Naruto-sama. Were I allowed, I'd give myself to you to enjoy as long as you wanted and in any way you wanted. Naruto smirked. I know you would Yujito-kun. Then allow me the next best honor, let me be a vixen. Yujito whispered. I assume Anko mentioned this to you? Yujito nodded, obviously afraid to look at him. Naruto thought a moment, he knew Anko wouldn't have mentioned it if Yujito didn't have the same fetish, which he and Anko had given her by how they'd met. I'll discuss it with them, and if they don't object you can be one of my vixens. Now go pick a room, don't mention this to anyone or ask about it. I'll tell you if you're in or not when the time is right. Yujito stepped back, bowed slightly, kissed him and ran off. Deck 9th, 12:28 p.m., Hokage Tower I can do it, but are you sure you want me to? Tsunade asked, slightly stunned, and both Kunoichi nodded. It's not against any rule I know, but no one has ever tried before. Tsunade said, then her inner medic got excited at the possibilities, which made her smile. But when have I ever been afraid of trying something new? Some details have to be worked out, and in case there are others some official procedures must be set up. I'll have you both notified of your first appointments. Dismissed. Tsunade said, returned their nods then watched them leave. After a few moments of thought she hit the talk button on her intercom. I'm going to the hospital Shizun, you handle any minor things that come up on my authority, and finish the paperwork on my desk. Tsunade said then smiled, she could almost hear Shizun's annoyed sigh. Hi Tsunadesima. Shizun replied in a friendly, but annoyed tone. Tsunade giggled, then leapt out the window. == 4:26 p.m., Konoha Park, Northeast Section == He could have done it at his estate, but Naruto enjoyed the park, and he'd spent the morning and early afternoon there using hundreds of shadow clones to get the grounds, mansion and house ready for him and Hinata to move in after the wedding, and until it was fully his he'd seen enough of it for now. He needed a change of scenery. This part of it was one of the few places he went as a little kid to be alone, only later did he find out it had a nickname because of an isolated clearing, they called Fire Rock. It was called that because for shinobi it was the place to take your special person because everyone that did eventually got married, and it'd be marked with their names. As Naruto walked the path, enjoying the quiet of nature, he suddenly stopped as he heard muffled voices, focusing on them he knew anyone else would have missed it. Remembering what was in that direction, he smirked and then the voices got his attention for 3 reasons that bothered and confused him. Naruto quickly, but silently, moved through the trees to the edge of the clearing to confirm the identities of the lovers. Moving along the edge of the clearing, just out of sight, he found them and knew his guess was right, they were both girls. They were on an angled groove so they were standing and the girl could lay back or sit on the seat-like edge without worrying about falling. The bottom girl was nude, laid back with her legs out and wide by the top girl holding her ankles while she appeared to be rocking her hips, at least from his view from behind and just to the left. The top girl had her shirt on but it was lifted and sitting on her breasts, C-cups he figured, and nude from the waist down, she was sucking the big nipples of the bottom girl's big breasts that were obviously a lot softer than the top girl's firm mounds. She obviously strapped them down as he thought she was a B-cup at most. He watched them a few moments then decided to leave them alone, but before he could turn the top girl muffled a grunting moan as she went stiff, the bottom girl had a similar reaction a moment later, then the top girl slumped a moment and stepped back, his eyes got as big as saucers at what he saw when she turned. == 5:09 p.m., hospital, Tsunade's office == Tsunade smiled as her door opened. Hey Naruto-kun. Her smile fell when she saw his expression. What's wrong? She closed the file she was reading. Naruto sat in the chair. Shizun said you were here. I saw 2 girls doing it about a half hour ago at Fire Rock. He saw her smirk a moment. I know both girls really well, at least, I thought I did. I didn't know they were gay, not that I care about that. After they finished, then the top girl stepped back from the other girl. Tsunade waited 10 seconds then noticed Naruto looked afraid and confused. What happened Naruto-kun? There's nothing you can tell me that I haven't seen, or done. Naruto nodded and sighed. Hi, she stepped back and, well, the bottom girl was better endowed than I thought she was, top and bottom, but the top girl was different. Tsunade's eyebrows went up slightly as she thought a moment. She drummed her fingers on the files on reflex, then glanced down at the files and smiled. Before you say any more, a couple kunoichi you know came to me this morning with an odd request, they want a permanent transformation, on part of them anyway. Tsunade quickly went through a file and removed a couple pictures. What they want done is a jutsu version of a rare medical condition a small number of women in Konoha have. Their faces aren't in them, but is this what that girl looked like? Tsunade slid the pictures across her desk, face down. Naruto swallowed nervously, then picked them up and took a look. After his initial shock, and he'd looked at the others, all the same person, from different angles and in several positions. After going through them for a few minutes he set them on the desk and nodded. Hi, but she was bigger than that girl. They're called futanari, futa for short, but the medical term is hermaphrodite, and before you ask they are considered female, and before you say anything, regardless of the personal cost I have to pay afterwards, if you insult or mock them for something they had no control over, and some suffered almost as much as you have because of it. I swear on Nawaki's soul I'll beat you until you stop moving, understood? Naruto was genuinely shocked for a moment, then had a thought. You lost a best friend that was a futa, didn't you? Tsunade's expression softened and she nodded. That explains why you'd risk that kind of guilt again to threaten me. I'd never treat someone like that, Tsunade-kun, but I'll admit that I'll need a while to get used to that, and we'll talk about who wants you to make them futa later. Tsunade smiled and nodded. Sorry I did that, but I will not take any chances, even with you, despite knowing better, but I was very close to her and promised I'd protect girls like her no matter what, but you understand a promise like that. Naruto nodded. So, this top girl is a futa. I take it she deflowered the other girl. Naruto nodded. Yes, I have no doubt she did considering who the girl is, but who they are is my problem, especially the bottom girl. I can talk to the bottom girl, but I think you should handle the futa girl. No matter how big her cock is. Tsunade said, then pumped her right fist in front of her open mouth. Naruto blushed. Tsunade. Tsunade laughed. Sorry, I had to lighten things up, you were killing my good mood. She took a moment to calm down. I can do that, so who do I summon and what rank lesson should I teach her? Tsunade asked deviously, since she'd given up all pretense of being in charge of anything when alone with Naruto, but then so had almost every other woman in Konoha, married or single, civilian or kunoichi. == 9:03 p.m., Naruto's house, bedroom == Naruto glanced at the time, checked to be sure he had everything he'd borrowed from Tsunade, and focused on the right seal. No matter how well this goes, I know eventually it'll come back and hit me right in the balls. He said. Sighed sadly, then vanished in a yellow flash. == Deck 10th, 7 a.m., Hokage Tower == Tsunade put her elbows on her desk and set her chin on her interlaced fingers, her calm expression hid her emotions. She got set just as her door opened and her two guests walked in. Please close it and have a seat. The woman sat in the chair, her daughter in the other chair, to her right. If I may ask Hokage-sama, why did you summon us? I'm a model citizen and my Moejikan is one of the top students in the academy, in her grade. I'm aware of your status and Moegi's record, as well as her special medical condition. Tsunade replied and saw Mocha pale slightly then nod. Which I'm sad to tell you is the reason you're both here. From your expression I see you're unaware of what happened yesterday between Moegi and another student, whose identity will not be revealed here. Tsunade said as she glared at the now pale, and very scared Moegi, who nodded. Mocha looked at her daughter in surprise. What did my Moejikan do? Tsunade crossed her arms on her desk. She used her gift to deflower the daughter of one of Konoha's prominent families. Mocha gasped in shock. While I have no doubt that both girls are at least bisexual, and their coupling was mutual, she said while glaring at Moegi, who nervously, but quickly nodded. The fact remains that what they did broke certain rules and she must be punished. Moejikan, did you really do it with another girl with your? Mocha asked nervously. Moegi turned to her mom, tears in her eyes. I'm sorry. I did what Tsunade said, we've been kinda doing stuff since her birthday, but it was just a lil kissing and booby stuff, I swear. Then yesterday she wanted to see it and you got aroused, couldn't handle it, and one of you talked the other into fucking, am I close? Tsunade said. Moegi nodded. Hi, that's kinda what happened. It usually got a little hard, but never that much. I couldn't control myself. Moegi said sadly, then hung her head. What are you gonna do to me? She sobbed. Mocha turned to her daughter. Tell me the truth, Moejikan, do you and her love each other, or was this a one-time thing? Tsunade raised an eyebrow curiously. This could affect what she had planned, for the better, and if she played this right would earn her a huge reward from Naruto. Moegi raised her head. Hi, we do, and since I'm already in trouble, I checked around, we're both gay, mostly. Tsunade smirked. Let me guess, the only boy both of you want to be with is Naruto. Moegi smiled briefly and nodded. Before I decide your punishment, Moegi, I have one question, and how you answer will greatly affect my decision. Did you use the protection jutsu they teach at the academy? Hi Tsunade-sama, I did it just before we started. Moegi replied immediately, only pausing briefly to phrase it right. She didn't want to swear in front the Hokage, and definitely not her mother. Tsunade smiled. Smart girl, because that saved her future career, and your balls. Tsunade said and smiled coldly at Moegi, who swallowed hard. I should handle this as your Hokage, but the person that reported your activity to me yesterday also has a lot of influence, especially over me. Tsunade said with a foxy smile. Moegi gasped loudly. Naruto-sama. Tsunade nodded. Deck 14th, 10:31 a.m., Namake's mansion, living room after training with his teammates and sensei for 2 hours, taking them home via jutsu then getting a shower, Naruto crossed the room and sat next to a nervous Yujito, who only had on black shorts and an orange t-shirt. She didn't wear a bra or panties unless on a mission, which Naruto thought was cute. Before his shower he told Mikieru to have her meet him on the couch at 10:30. I assume you know why I summoned you. Yujito nodded, eyes down. You heard about what I did to Shikarakan. I've already packed my things. Actually Naruto had heard about what happened. Within the mansion very little got by Mikieru. He almost smiled as an idea formed. So you're moving in with Shikara so she can be a vixen too? I'll miss you around here, but I approve. He said casually. Thank you Naruto-sama, Yujito said, then her head snapped up and toward Naruto, her eyes big as saucers. You mean it? Gasp, I can, and she can. Hi, you should know better Yujito, no one is mad, we're happy you and Shikarakan are together, but it doesn't mean you can't still be with other people, Shikara too. Naruto said, then rubbed her head, which she liked, another cute thing about her. By the way, I want you and Shikara to go see Tsunade as soon as you're both available, and I want both of you here at 8 o'clock tonight, basement, don't be late, and don't tell anyone but Shikara where you're going or what you're doing. Yujito cautiously mouthed vixen meeting. Naruto smiled and nodded. She kissed him and ran off to her room to change clothes. She wanted to maintain her public image as a respected kunoichi. The public didn't need to know she was really little more than a pet cat in a woman's body. Nibi was figuratively and literally both. Deck 15th, 7:56 p.m., Uchiha compound, Mikoto's bedroom. Tenten gave Naruto a kiss, paused when he whispered in her ear, blushed, giggled and nodded, then he vanished in a yellow flash. She playfully glared at her lover. Don't look at me like that Mikoto-can, or you'll go to bed tonight with a very unhappy pussy. Tenten smiled when Mikoto slumped and bowed in submission from the side of her bed where she was sitting in her usual black kimono, nothing underneath it. Sorry Tenten-chan, but it's been over a month, I haven't been touched sexually since before your mission to Hot Spring Country. She saw Tenten's expression and pouted. And before you say anything, a few vixen meetings don't count, there's a big difference between getting kicked and getting licked, and you know it as well as I do. Besides, even when you're there too I don't get to properly enjoy that giant clit. Mikoto said with a perverted smile. You're just jealous because your little bump is barely the tip of mine. Tenten said and smiled proudly. Hey, 4 inches is not a little bump. You're just one of the select few in Konoha with that gift. Mikoto said. Tenten walked over to Mikoto, gently took her cheeks in hand and kissed her. I'm sorry I teased you, Mikoto-kan, but you're lucky, I'm giving you the honor of being the first to enjoy my new, sexual technique. Mikoto's face lit up. Tenten giggled, then took a step back, removed her shirt, exposing her firm C-cups. Tenten slipped off her sandals. As a sub, I know you enjoy worshipping my giant clit like a cock using your mouth and pussy, but that's not going to happen tonight, and possibly ever again. She saw some shock and a little fear appear on Mikoto's face. Because a few days ago I had my condition corrected. Tenten said then. As Mikoto's emotions began to flare, she dropped and kicked off her pants and new custom panties. Mikoto's eyes got as big as saucers and her jaw dropped. Tenten smiled proudly, stance wide, hands on her hips. I'm a full-fledged futa now, as I was meant to be. I won't fuck you tonight, Tamarican gets that honor as my girlfriend, but that mouth and those big tits are going to be the first to enjoy all 18 inches of my futa cock and the strength of my lemon's eyes balls. Mikoto swallowed the lump in her throat. You still have a pussy, right? She asked submissively, as the little Chunin Kunoichi standing before her was basically her mistress. It wasn't their actual relationship, just how Mikoto generally acted during their special time together. They were equals occasionally, and she even took the dominant role a few times, but they both knew this was just preparation for Naruto and Hinata to be able to join them, and the others. Mikoto opened and tossed away her kimono, switched places with Tenten and kneeled before the now seated futa girl. She gently took Tenten's cock in hand, and within seconds it was steel hard. Tenten moaned. I do, Mikoto-kan, and I haven't been busted since the operation. Grant me 3 requests as Uchiha clan head, and you can have the honor of doing my first ball busting at the next Vixen meeting. Mikoto suppressed her lust a moment to consider Tenten's request. She had an idea of at least one thing Tenten wanted from her as the Uchiha clan head, and had a feeling it may also cost her some dignity and maybe pride, but what she'd gain could go beyond being the first to bust Tenten's new futa balls. Then there was how she truly felt about the little kunoichi she'd never revealed. Hi, I accept.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. This is Raven Sage, signing off.